All right. Good morning, world. This is Alex Stanton with Real Estate Solutions. That's RE Solutions. I am here today to talk to you a little bit about renting to Section 8 tenants. The first thing we're going to do is look for one of the cheapest 3 families in Providence, and then I'm going to talk to you about how to make that work with Section 8. Now, we may or may not find a match here. If we don't, I'm going to pivot and show you how to make that property work for you. So we're going to take a look now. Give me 1 second to start sharing my screen. All right, looks like we're good. So, as I mentioned in the last video I recorded, which might actually come out after this, I'm working with an agent in Providence, Mary Shawcross. She's awesome. I met her on the Bigger Pockets platform, which is a great spot for education for investors. I'm also an agent and investor out in Boston. I'm looking at Providence right now because I think it's a really interesting market. It's a lot cheaper than Boston, obviously. And so I think it's a really cool spot to potentially build up a little bit more of a portfolio. So I'm looking at a whole bunch of stuff. Basically, what I'm trying to do is find those discount properties on the market that do exist. Providence is super hot, so I don't expect them to last a long time. Or if they are discounted, it could be because they need some significant work. But we're going to try and make that work for us. So let me just pull up my spreadsheet. So first thing we're going to do is pick one of these properties. So I just starred a few that I really like and I think could be solid fits. So we're going to browse through these. Okay, that's a duplex. We're not going to look at that yet. This is a 4-unit. Let's check that out. So I'm going to go pretty quick here and then get into the deeper analysis. So this is a 4-unit investment. It's 2 properties on the same lot with large parking. It looks like it's a 3-unit and a single family. That's pretty cool. So we're going to have 3 2-beds and 1 4-bed. The 4-bed has 2 bathrooms. I don't love that there's 2 roofs, 2 sets of plumbing, 2 sets of electrical to maintain. However, the price is really good. 4 units for $339, and being one of those is a single family that will rent a little bit more. So we can actually run this through Rentometer, which I love, real quick, and you can kind of get a sense of that. So let's pull that address. I'm going to pull this up on realtor.com just so that we can save a link in the spreadsheet. First thing I'm going to do is make a new one. Here we go. So we are at 61 Florence Street. This looks like a really good start. Here we go. And there we go. All right, so there's our link. There's our property. Boom. So we're going to make that our new spreadsheet. Here's our hyperlink for the property. There we go. Copy that into a tab. Then what we're going to do is go ahead and see the difference right now. So I always just throw in 1,200. It doesn't matter what you put in here. We're going to go 4-bed, 1.5 bath, and I'm going to show you the difference in price, hopefully, between an apartment versus a single family. So in this area, that looks pretty good. These prices are getting skewed by some stuff over in Federal Hill, which is a nicer area. So I would actually really lean towards that bottom end of the market. And just to note, it's currently, I guarantee, rented well below that. So that 4-bed, 2-bath is currently rented out for $1,050. Obviously, that's not going to work for us. This property is honestly priced in such a way that you're probably not going to lose money with the current rents, but you've got room to move it up, and we want to move it up. We want to make some money here. So 2,000, that might still be aggressive for this neighborhood. We're going to see what happens if we switch that to a house. In fact, that gave us more comps in a cheaper area. Elmhurst is still nice. That's a lot of student rentals. Like Federal Hill, it's pretty good. E and F over here. C, those are probably all more in line. So what I'm going to do is actually pull a pro report and see what we're looking at. I don't usually do this, but this will give us a closer look into what exactly is going on here. So property A, DeSoto Street, 4-bed, 2-bath, rented for $2,000. Let's find something well below. Property D. Okay, so that's another like slightly cheaper neighborhood, rented for $1,700. Property E, 1575, again, 4-bed, 2-bath house. So these are comparable. These are all single fams. Another note is property D actually has a bonus half bath. So that's a lot of bathroom for anyone. 1,800 over here at property F. So I actually think that 1,800 might be reasonable for this. That's the number that I'm going to run this 4-bed on. So let's go ahead and take this. We got 4 units. We know the price point is starting at $339,900. We got 4 units. We have a total of 10 bedrooms. Living area total is 3796. Now that may not be accurate given that it's 2 different properties. Again, bring your tape measure if you feel like really getting a good sense of it. Total lot size 3798. Wow, that can't be accurate. Not with a parking lot in the middle. It's been on the market for 19 hours, so less than 1 day. So expect that to sell really fast. Anybody want to buy this with me? So we can see that 3-family looks pretty solid. Siding looks to be in good condition. I think it's a really cute color, not that that matters very much. The fact that there's a little front porch on 2 of the 3 units and a little balcony on the 3rd one is a really nice touch. As the listing stated, I think, yep, the vinyl siding and the roof on the single family were just replaced. Parking for over 10 cars, that's awesome. So that's going to be really easy to rent. 100 amps. So that doesn't tell us what the state of the electrical is, but you can look at that when you walk through. There's the single family. Yeah, you can definitely tell that looks pretty well updated. That's nice. So it looks to me like an investor who did at least some stuff to make sure the curb appeal was on track. It looks to me like these are the 2 buildings. Maybe they're using some of this parking. Unclear to me exactly what's going on in there. No interior photos suggest to me that things really need to be updated. I don't hate that, but there could be some problems there. Let me see, any other information we can glean here. So not a ton. What we're gonna do is go ahead, we know we have 1 4-bed and we have 3 2-beds. So we're gonna drop those in there. And we're gonna take, again, what we think the rents could be and what the rents actually are. So for that 4-bed, we're gonna put 1,800, try and keep it conservative. In fact, we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna show you real quick, like I said, how to find the price for Section 8. So we're looking at these small area fair market rents. That's what this is called. This is probably not going to be a good Section 8 rental, at least for the 4-bed, but we're going to find out. So let me see. There we go. Providence, River, metropolitan area. You can also search by state if you don't know the name of the metro area. And then what we're going to do is search by the zip code of the property. So 02909. All right, so we know a 4-bed there is only going up to 1510. 3-bed is 1270 and a 2-bed is 1020. That's not going to work for this. We already have rents that are almost in line with this, with these non-leased, market tenants. So Section 8 is not going to be a good deal for this, but you can kind of use this as a great tool to search by neighborhood. There will be properties that fit it in almost every city. Generally speaking, they're going to be cheaper properties in neighborhoods that skew more expensive. 02912 is probably a much more expensive part of Providence. It might not work there. But we're going to continue on with the analysis. We've already limited Section 8, unfortunately, but we'll get back to that another time. All right, so we're going to look at 2-bed, 1-bath apartments real quick just to get a sense for what we think those could be at this address. And we're looking at about 1,000. So we're going to keep that close to where it is, 1,000 each. There we go. And we know we have 4 units total. And then for the current rents, we have 950, 850, and 750. So 950 plus 850 plus 750. Let's throw some parens in there and divide by 3. All right, so that's an average of 850, and the 4-bed is renting for 1050. Those numbers are not great, but it could still work out. We are not going to get a discount on this property. It's likely going to go over asking, so I'm going to actually look at 349.9 and see what that looks like. We're going to assume some cosmetics. We'll assume 10K a unit. That's probably not a very heavy. It could need more given that we can't see anything in the exterior. So really get those maximum rents. There's a good chance we're going to need to do a little bit more than that. So in fact, I'm going to pop that up. Let's go 15 a unit. I would rather eliminate this property than buy a bad deal. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to see whether or not we can eliminate it. This is a lot of money out of pocket, 156. You might be able to refi after doing this. This would be a great opportunity to improve a property and then refi later. Another nice thing about buying property that needs work like this is that its tax assessed value is going to be based on the sale price. If you make improvements that don't show on the outside, you're not going to get smacked for the taxes. Right now they're estimating about $500 a month. That's probably your owner occupant tax rate. So good thing is we have the tax rate set based on that investor purchase price. So this is going to be a rough number for us, that tax rate, but we're going to check it out. All right, so other potential income. We know we have parking for 10 cars. You might be able to get a little bit out of that. I would recommend instead throwing coin-op laundry into the 3-family, into the basement, and keeping the single family with laundry included. Maybe that'd be a way you can juice that rent up a little bit higher, call it like $1,900. We are not going to include utilities, but we are going to have to, unfortunately, keep water unless we manage to sub-meter that out. Can be done. It's a little aggressive, but it can be done. I'm assuming that we don't have any storage units. Again, I don't think we should charge for driveway parking. We might be able to. Maybe let's call it, $25 a spot. We'll rent out 5 out of 10 spots. So it's going to be $125. That'd be pretty solid. If we can get that, that's going to be a good extra chunk of change annually. All right, so our total annual income, you can see a pretty big gap here. There's almost a $16,000 spread between where things currently are and where they could be. And, these are low estimates. You should be able to juice that 3-bed or those 2 beds up beyond that, especially if you rent out 1 room each for $600. You can do the same thing with the 4-bed, rent out 1 room each for $500 or $600 and be getting a little bit more for this. Again, we're just going to start with some conservative numbers here. This is going to be times 0.1. We are going to keep these all at times 0.1 and see if it works there, just to try and really maximize our reserves. All right, so everything is in place there. Nice thing is there's not a lot more we need to do. We're going to keep that investor rate. We're going to hope that we get that 30-year term, 25% loan, our down payment. So this is pretty much a break-even property in terms of cash flow. You do still get some good overall return on it. 6.5% though is not juicy enough for me. So we are going to need to go ahead and rent by the room. Let's assume we do $550 a room. We're looking at $2,200 for the 4 beds, and we're looking at $1,100 for the 2 beds. Now we get about 3.8% cash on cash return, $500 cash flow per month. Again, still not enough. We're going to need to either buy this at a lower price or reduce those repair costs. Let's say maybe those repairs are not as bad as I think. This would be a property worth checking out, in my opinion. So if we drop those down, now we're at almost a 5%, still not good enough. We're going to have to make those 3 beds nicer. We're going to have to go really aggressive on those room rentals. If we really tap it all out, we self-manage or get a good discount on that. Hold on. Let's assume we can get that management for a little bit cheaper, 8%. We're going to be renting by the room, so our vacancy is going to be down. We're even going to go 7% there. Repairs and maintenance, we're going to keep that at 10% as well as the CapEx at 10% because we have 2 roofs to manage. If we can keep that vacancy low by renting by the room and we can keep that management low, we do have a chance to get about a 10% cash on cash return, which will give us that 10% annualized return. So that is really what it would take to make this property work. I don't love it. I don't think it's good enough. There's got to be a better deal on the market. Alrighty, so I decided to tack one more piece onto this analysis because I'm very excited about this property actually. It has the potential to be a really cool house hack. So I'm going to go ahead and run the numbers based on that. So again, we're going to jump up that purchase price a little bit just because if we're using that FHA loan, we're going to want to give them a better reason to accept that. Nice thing is we can get a down payment of like 95% or 5%, excuse me. And we're going to get that interest rate down to like 3.85. Again, 30-year term. There's going to be some additional insurance because there's going to be that private mortgage insurance. So let's use mortgage calculator to figure that out. It's going to be pretty cool. 345. And we're going to do a 5% down payment. Private mortgage insurance is going to be about 0.5%. That's the only number we care about right now. So that PMI is going to be 136.56. So we're going to go ahead and add a little little chunk to that. Here we go. 136.56 times 12. So we're jumping up that insurance a bit. Because we're owner occupying, I actually do think it's going to be a little lower. I don't remember where that first number came from. So here's what we're going to do. Boom. All right, utilities will stay about the same. Management fees are going to be gone because we're self-managing. So that's going to be a big old 0. Vacancy is also going to be down because we're still going to go renting by the room for those 3 2-beds. So we're going to keep that at 0.7. Repairs and maintenance and CapEx, again, we're going to keep the same because I want to be conservative there. We're going to be eliminating the income from the 4-bed because we're going to live there and fix it up. So we're only going to have these 3 units to rent out. Again, we're going to go ahead and eliminate that income from the 4-bed with in-place rents as well. I didn't need to do that. That's cool. Okay, great. So we have our new numbers there. We're going to keep that coin-op laundry. We're going to keep trying to sell a little bit of the driveway parking. Now what we're looking at, we're going to go ahead and keep those repairs about the same. Still, this is not going to be like, oh, wow, what an amazing deal. We're still losing $366 a month, but that's our total cost of living now. Again, so let's assume you were renting a 4-bed. We're going to assume you got a great deal. You got it for $1,600 a month. So we're going to do 1,600 times 12. So that's $19,200 that you're going to spend that year. Versus you can go ahead and spend a total annual of $43.95.99. And don't forget, that's just 1 month's reserves for maintenance or CapEx, or 1 year's reserves for maintenance or CapEx. So our total cost of living is actually just the money that we're setting aside for repairs each year. So this is a great way to start out because we're actually going to be dramatically reducing our cost of living, and we're going to have a big old chunk of profit if we live there for 10 years. If we live for, let's say, 5 years, we're still looking at walking away with some equity capture, some forced appreciation, the actual normal appreciation of the property. We should walk away with $100,000 in those 5 years. If we hold it for 30 years, we're going to walk away with an additional $550,000 to our net worth. And don't forget, like, we still have the potential to rent this out. And down the line, those prices are going to go up. That rent appreciation is going to happen. Everything is going to start to get a little juicier. And if we live here for 5 or 6 years while paying down that loan, that private mortgage insurance is going to drop off. But we're going to keep that interest rate. We're going to keep that low original down payment. Property taxes are still going to be, I forgot to change them to the owner occupant rate. So let's go $18. Forgot about that. So with that, we have, by the time that we move out of here and rent out that 4-bed, almost a 30% return. Let's bump up that management again because we're going to use it at that point. 22% at that point based on our original cash invested. Obviously, our total amount of money invested has gone up by this point. But we're going to go ahead and come back to these numbers. At this point, we've got our 0 management while we're living there. Our vacancy is going to be low. So it's actually break even because we've got that reduction in property taxes. Again, since we're starting out living there, for whatever time we're living there, those property taxes are going to be way lower. And I suspect that when we leave, the property taxes are not going to suddenly go up. I don't know how quickly the town will catch on. I'm sure it'll happen. But for a little while, you may have a little juice there. So that's an awesome start. This is actually a basically living for free situation while setting aside $12,000 in annual reserves for vacancy repairs and big CapEx. So that's fantastic. That is a $20,000 swing in your net worth, not counting all of the rest of the appreciation. So let's say you just lived there for 5 years. You're looking at about an 8% average annual return, $136,000 in profit. This is a great house hack. It's not a mind-blowing house hack, but I think it's a great first option. And again, you can keep it, and when you move out, bump up those taxes again. You keep your low interest rate, and you bump up that management. And we'll bump that up to 0.08 as well. We're still looking at pretty fantastic return, $830 a month on that original $70,000 down. I'll take that. hold it for a little longer, those rates are going to start to balance out. So the longer you hold this, the closer it's going to come to kind of a break-even point. Oh, that's interesting. So that kind of jumped up a little bit. This also doesn't factor in the fact that 30 years from now, those rents are going to be higher. If you are doing your job correctly as a landlord and increasing rents with the market, you're going to see a big bump up there. I have not yet modified this to allow for rent appreciation, but you can bet that I'm going to figure that out soon. All right, thanks for staying with me and have a great day.